Hello guys, welcome to your English class. I'm Miss Perla. I hope you enjoy and you learn a lot. As you remember the last class we start working on the unit 7 in the grammar part. The topic for this unit is modal verbs. We learned about can and could, and today we are going to continue working on this topic, but we are going to learn about the use of might, may, must, and should. Remember that you have to make your own notes, and if you have any question or any doubt, write it and we are going to resolve during the virtual class. Okay, first we are going to start with may and might. These two modal verbs we are going to use to talk about a future possibility. So let's going to see. May and might we are going to use to express a future possibility. But the difference between may and might is that to express a future possibility is more frequently the might than may. Yes? For example, it might rain later. In these sentences, we are talking about a future possibility and we are using might. Another example is I might go to the movies tonight. We also, in these sentences, are expressing a future possibility, and also we are going to use may to talk about future possibilities, and we are going to give you two examples. For example, I wouldn't talk to Tim right now. He may still be angry after his team lost. He's very good. In fact, I think he may win the competition. In these four sentences, we are using might and may to express a future possibility. The difference is that is more frequently heard might than may in the spoken English. Okay, another use, we are going to use may to give permission. For example, you may leave the table once you have finished your meal. Another example is you may take one only. Another example of sentences give permission, we have, if you have finished the exam, you may leave the room. In these three sentences, we are going to use may to give permission. If we are going to say may not, we are going to use to not give permission or to prohibit someone from doing something. For example, you may not park your car in front of the gate. Yes, so remember, I'm going to review. We are going to use may and might to talk about a future possibility. Might is used more frequently than may. And we are going to use may, only may, to give permission. Yes? Okay, another use is we are going to use may, only may, to ask for permission. Pay attention here. We can use can and may to ask for permission. For example, can is used more frequently than may, but may sounds more polite. If you remember, we use more frequently can when we say, can I open the window? Can I open the door? Can I go to the bathroom? But it's correct. But we are going to use may because it sounds more polite. For example, may I sit down next to you? May I borrow your pen? May I use your bathroom, please? So remember, we are going to use may to ask for permission. We also can use can, and it's more frequently that we are going to hear someone using can to ask for permission, but may is more polite. Okay, another rule is we are going to use may to talk about a typical occurrence. For example, we are going to use in academic or scientific language to refer to things that typically happen in certain situations. For example, these, these tablets may produce serious side effects if not taken in the correct dose. Another example is adults may find it difficult to sleep if they use technology before going to bed. Yes, is another example that we are going to use may to talk about typical occurrence. We are going to use may plus have plus verb in past participle to speculate about past situations. For example, she is late. I think she may have missed her plane. Yes, we are going to use may, have, and past participle to speculate about past situations. Another example is, what was that noise? It might have been a dog outside our window. Yes, we are speculating about something. Okay, so we are going to use may and might to talk about a future possibility. Remember that might is more frequently in spoken language. We are going to use may, only may, to give permission, to ask for permission, express wishes, and to speculate about the past actions. May or might. May and might can normally be interchanged without a significant difference in the meaning. However, might often implies a smaller chance. What does it mean? That might represents only the 40% of the possibility, while may represents the 70% of the possibility. Yes, that's one difference too between may and might. So now we are going to continue with the modal verb must. We are going to use must to express an obligation or duty. For example, I must memorize all of these rules about modal verbs. We are going to use must to express an obligation. Another example is, you must wear a seatbelt at all the times. In these sentences, it's another example that we are going to use must to express an obligation. Okay, also we are going to use must to emphasize the necessity of something. For example, you must give up smoking. It's bad for you. We are emphasizing that I must give up smoking because it's bad. Yes. Another example is, you must study the last 2 chapters before the test. In these sentences, we also are emphasizing about the necessity of something. We need to study the last 2 chapters before the test. Another example is, plants must have light and water to grow. So in these sentences, we are using must to emphasize the necessity of something. In this case, we are emphasizing that the plants needs light and water to grow up. Yes? So remember, we are going to use we are going to use must. We are going to use must to express an obligation, and also we are going to use must to emphasize the necessity of something. Okay, we are going to use must to talk about a deduction or when we are sure about something. For example, look at all of that snow. It must be really cold outside. We are talking about a deduction because we are sure that something, for example, we are sure that it's cold outside. Yes, another use about must is that we are going to use to give a strong recommendation. Remember that we use should to give an advice and must also, but in this case, must is stronger than should. For example, we really must get together for the dinner sometime. Yes, we are using must to recommend something in a stronger way. You must see the new Peter Jackson movie. It's fantastic. In these sentences, we are going to use must to recommend recommended something. Another example is the ice cream here is delicious. You must try some. Yes? So remember, we are going to use must to express an obligation, to emphasize the necessity of something, to give an strong recommendation, and also we are going to use must to express a positive logical assumptions. We are going to use must have in the verb in past participle. For example, that must have been my mother calling me last night. Nobody else has my number. We are expressing a logical assumption. Another example is he must have won the lottery with the new house and car he has just bought. Yes, we also are expressing a logical assumptions. She must have been at home. Her car was there. We also are using must plus have plus been to talk about a logical assumptions. Yes? And the last one that we are going to learn today is should. Okay, should is a modal verb that is most commonly used to make a recommendation or to give an advice. It can also be used to express an obligation as well as expectation. For example, when you go to Berlin, you should visit the places in Potsdam. This is a recommendation and we are going to use should. Another example is you should focus more on your family and less on your work. This is an example of an advice, and we also are going to use should. I really should be in the office by 7 a.m. It's an obligation, and we also are using should. By now, they should already be in Dubai. This is an example of an expectation. Yes, so remember, should is the most commonly verb used to give an advice or recommendation, but also we are going to use to express an obligation and an expectation. Yes, and we are going to see more examples. Should as recommendation or to give an advice. For example, Frank should have eaten low-fat foods. Yes, we are giving a recommendation. You really should start eating better. Yes, it's another example of recommendation using should. We also can say in negative. For example, Sarah shouldn't smoke so much. It's not good for her health. Yes, we are going to use shouldn't to give recommendations to or to give an advice. Should as obligation. For example, I should be at work before 9 a.m. We should return the video before the video rental store closes. Yes, in these two sentences, we are talking about an obligation using should. And the last use to talk about should is to express an expectation. For example, Susan should be in New York by now. Susan should have arrived in New York last week. Let's call her and see what she's up to. Another example is Susan should be in New York by the next week. Her new job starts on Monday. Yes, so remember, we are going to use should only for three things. To recommendations or give an advice, to express an obligation, and also to express an expectation. So if you have any question, please let me know. I hope you enjoy, you understand. And if you have any question, we are going to continue working with the with exercises in the virtual class. Thank you so much and I'll see you there. Bye bye.